I would like to encourage the students that the future is bright. If you take your studies seriously and you focus, then you can be sure in some years to come, when all these leaders will have retired, you will be the next senators, the next MPs, the next PSS, the next, you can occupy an office in this country. Doctors like the great senator of Kakamega, who is with us here, our majority whip. And therefore, Mr. Speaker, I really feel happy today. I want to thank the teachers. And as a country, Mr. Speaker, we continue to cherish education. And with the support of the ministry, we are going to continue, Mr. Speaker, to work together. I want to wish them well as they listen and learn from the debate in the House. It is important for them to know, Mr. Speaker, that this is the upper house. And then we have the National Assembly. Of course, they are in recess, so I'm sure they will not go there today. Or even if they go, they will never see a live debate the way we are doing it now here. So I want to wish them well, work hard, get focused, and the future will definitely be bright for you. Mr. Speaker, I want to thank you for the moment, and I wish them well. I will have a moment with you shortly. Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you, Chairman, Security Committee. Honorable Senators, again in the public gallery we have 36 students accompanied by 4 teachers from Alliance View Junior School in Kiambu County who are in the Senate on an education tour. Honorable Senators, in our usual tradition of receiving and welcoming visitors to Parliament, I extend a warm welcome to them, and on behalf of the Senate and my own behalf, wish them a fruitful visit. Thank you. Senator Karungo Wadangwa.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. As I stand to welcome the students from Alliance, Mr. Speaker, all I want to say is that they're lucky to be here when they're in primary school. Some of us stepped in this Senate when we were old enough after being elected. We have never even experienced Parliament. We have never even experienced how they used to conduct their businesses. But I would want to thank the teachers, not only of Alliance, and also the teachers from Baringo, for seeing it fit for the students to come to this Senate to see how we conduct our businesses, to see how we carry ourselves as people's representatives. Because this House, Mr. Speaker, we represent the interests of the counties. So we are here as the watchmen of county governments and county people to make sure that everything that they own and everything that is taken there by the county government, by the national government, is well spent and taken care of. Mr. Speaker, when I was in primary school, we used to take school trips, but not to come to the Senate or to come to the National Assembly. We used to go to KICC to see the old man sitting on a rock. That is the first president of this republic, Jomo Kenyatta. And I remember when it was our turn to come, my mother could not raise the shillings 300 that was required for bus fare to come to see the old man sitting on a rock. That is Mzee Jomo Kenyatta. But Mr. Speaker, even that I didn't come that time, today I want to tell the students, my office is at KICC. I see the old man sitting on a rock every day for free. So that is to say, Mr. Speaker, if you didn't do it, it doesn't mean you'll never do it. If you didn't experience it, it doesn't mean you'll never experience it. All you have to do is to work hard, aim higher, and always believe in your dreams. So I welcome them and I tell them to always believe in their dreams. Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you, Senator Kiambu County. I want to pick a few comments from the statements that are being lent out. We start with the majority leader. Majority leader.
I thought you were accepting my point of order, sorry.
But you know what is standing on the 96 stipulates. That is why I was giving the majority leader to give his statements, his comment, I mean. Then you can do whatever you are agitated to do.
I thought you were saying majority.
Unless you want to assume the office of the majority leader.
So I am forewarned, Mr. Speaker, that Senator Alwale is planning something. Anyway, Mr. Speaker, my attention was drawn to this statement by my good friend Senator Joe Newton on something I've just read in the social media about what happened, I think, to the gentleman. I don't know if he's a lawyer or something from Murang'a County. And then there has been a discussion about county health facilities. And you know, presently, Mr. Speaker, there is a debate, I don't know where it emanated from, that county governments are unable to run health facilities, take it back to national, others hold a different view. Mr. Speaker, I saw today, I think when I was in my office early this morning, some medical practitioners issue a statement from, I think was in Gishu, asking national government to take up health facilities and that kind of a discussion. The thing that made me want to comment, Mr. Speaker, is that I know this House as members of the Health Committee. Mr. Speaker, if you read Schedule 4 of our Constitution, health is a devolved function. My biggest concern is that the country is having a conversation about health without the voice of the Senate. I wish to challenge, Mr. Speaker, our colleagues who serve in the Health Committee, perhaps either by way of statement or by whatever proposal they want to give this House, to at least feature and be part of this conversation, because these are the opportunities that we continue to miss, Mr. Speaker. Then we complain later that Senate is being ignored or bypassed, Mr. Speaker. I am tired, Mr. Speaker, of, and with all due respect to Senator Junyoto, I respect his question. It is very valid, and I hope he gets the answer. But I think as a committee of a Senate dealing with a function that is heavily devolved, Mr. Speaker, we need to rise beyond this investigation of just a doctor has done this or that. There is a serious national policy discussion that is going on with Kenyans divided depending on whichever side of the conversation entices their feelings and thought, Mr. Speaker, without the voice of the Senate, Mr. Speaker. I want to hear, Mr. Speaker, from the Health Committee, if they have conducted an audit of how this function has so far been undertaken. What are the challenges that inform it? It cannot be just monetary. Money is not the answer to all problems. And we must live to reality, Mr. Speaker, and know that there is no day that we will say a particular function has been fully funded and therefore there are no problems anymore, Mr. Speaker. It may be a big contributor, but there are other things, Mr. Speaker. Standards of practice. I know doctors, Mr. Speaker. I have a friend, Mr. Speaker, the best student that I went to school with. It's called Dr. Kenneth Shinga Mwarabu. From Form 1 to Form 4, #1 in class. Scored an A in every subject. Each time he comes to my office, I feel embarrassed because I know he did way better than me. Perhaps he deserves even to live a more decent life. But just because he's a medical doctor, Mr. Speaker, sometimes when you transfer services, like one time he had moved from Elgeyo Marakwet to Bomet County, Mr. Speaker, and he stayed without a salary for close to 6 months because he's being told, oh, we don't recognize a particular service. These are not monetary remuneration issues. These are issues of policy, Mr. Speaker, which I expect that apart just from responding to the question by Senator Joe Nyoto, Mr. Speaker, our health committee can help us as a House guide this discussion so that when I make my voice known, whether in support or otherwise, of the discussion that is going on in the public, Mr. Speaker, I do it from an informed perspective. You know, if you read Schedule 4, Mr. Speaker, on issues that are devolved with health facilities, ambulance services, primary health care, Mr. Speaker, you know very well, and I have seen policy documents on UHC, a discussion that is very alive in our country, Mr. Speaker, that there is a proposal to hire more than 100,000 community health promoters. What is the place of county governments in that particular conversation, Mr. Speaker, and what is their contribution? So I, of course, don't, good. I was worried that Senator Mandago might not be in the House, Mr. Speaker. I am glad that as I make my comments, you know, Mr. Speaker, one of the reasons I was very happy that Senator Mandago be chair of Health Committee is because we can gain as a House from his experience as a former governor, Mr. Speaker, and he can encourage us to know many of these things. But the challenge and what I request of that particular committee is to help us appreciate this issue. Guide us as a House so that we know on this conversation that is ongoing, what are the facts that have so far been laid out, and what interventions can we propose as a House so that the country appreciates and we stop hearing cases such as what Senator Joe Nyotu is placing before this House. I thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Majority Leader. Next is Senator Mwini Haji Mohamed.
Asante Bwana Spika kwa kunipa fursa hii kuchangia ombi la taarifa kutoka kwa Senator.
Sorry, what was your point of order, Senator Boni Karwale? Let me hear your problem.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Speaker. I was rising on the standing order number 1051 that speaks to the accuracy of what a senator states. So, Speaker, a statement has been sought this afternoon about the KEMSA matter. And Mr. Speaker, if you heard the senator, she said that the committee should establish actions that are being taken against the people responsible. Mr. Speaker, in terms of accuracy, isn't this matter overtaken by events? The president has already taken action. He has sacked the principal secretary. The board has been disbanded, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, unless we want the committee to go and behave as if they are carrying out a human post-mortem, this is a matter which has since rested. Is it worthwhile that this statement should see the light of the day? It's overtaken by events.
No, let me give some guidance so that we make progress. Senator Boni Karwale, don't mess with the work of the committees of the Senate. That report should be brought here by the committee. Maybe there are more others who need to be fired. Yeah? So why are you now stopping the committee from doing further investigations? Even maybe the others who have no issue and shouldn't be reinstated. Yeah, so don't stifle the work of the committee and the chair is here. I don't want to give him because he was actually not disagreeing with you. From what I can see, he's disagreeing with you that the committee should do its work. So let's...
Speaker.
Don't harass Senator Boni Karwale. He's a hair in this House.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I stand guided. We have a responsibility as leaders of this nation that we do not use the floor of this House to play politics. If the intention of the statement is so as to give them the impression that the president is not up to it, we have done our bit. When you had the opportunity and there was a scandal at KEMSA, your president and his handshake brother did absolutely nothing. So if you want to play politics, we will play it better than you. We were here before you. We have done it better, and we'll continue teaching you the politics of the Republic of Kenya.
Senator Boni Karwale, you are now out of order. I gave guidance on this matter. Why are you digging into it again, and now you are also inviting so many points of order, and I made some guidance to that statement. Onyonka, you have your statement, Senator Onyonka, to read, maybe you will get that time.
Mr. Speaker, I am
Not on that matter, on the statement.
No,
On
no.
KEMSA, no.
I'm not on Kemsha, but Mr. Speaker, I'm shocked that my hero, Mr. Boni, today sounds like a sycophant. Mr. Speaker, thank you for giving me this opportunity to raise the question because it's also about medical issues.
No, what I wanted to do, Senator Onyonka,
Yes.
is to give a few members to make comments on the first 4 statements.
Oh,
Then you are next to now give out your statement.
thank you. Can I contribute, sir?
No. Let's have Senator Mohammed.
That's okay. Thank you.
You'll have an opportunity to read out your statements.
Asante Mheshimiwa Spika, kabla sijachangia maombi ya taarifa yaliyoletwa bungeni na Senator Hamida, ningependa kumkumbusha Senator Khalwale kwa hili ni bunge. Na mambo ya bunge ni mambo ya bunge. Mambo ya rais ni mambo ya rais. Kwa hivyo mambo ya bunge lazima yazungumzwe bunge. Mheshimiwa Spika, ningependa kuchangia maombi ya taarifa yaliyoletwa bungeni na Senator Hamida kuhusiana na kuachiliwa kwa wafungwa ambao wanatumika vifungo vidogo vidogo katika gereza zetu. Mheshimiwa Spika, kwanza ningependa kupongeza maseneta wa Kewosa ambao juzi walizuru gereza la kina mama hapa Lang'ata, ambapo waliweza kutoa wafungwa kadhaa takriban 100 ambao walikuwa wamefungwa kwa makosa madogo madogo ambao walikuwa wanahudumu katika gereza lile. Mheshimiwa Spika, hii si mara ya kwanza kwa bunge la Senate kufanya ziara katika magereza. Nakumbuka tulipokuwa katika Kitui County kwa Senate mashinani, tuliweza kuzuru gereza la Kitui ambapo tuliweza kutoa zaidi ya wafungwa 100. Wakati ule ilikuwa ni kamati ya sheria pamoja na haki za binadamu ikiongozwa na Senator Nandi ambaye sasa amekuwa mtu wa kukaa backbencher. Mheshimiwa Spika, tulitoa zaidi ya wafungwa 100 katika gereza lile, na baada ya hapo jaji ambaye alikuwa anahudumu katika kituo kile, nakumbuka alikuwa ni Jaji Mutende, alifanya ziara katika gereza lile na akaziangalia zile faili za wafungwa wote ambao walikuwa na makosa madogo madogo, na wote wakaruhusiwa kwenda nyumbani kwa sababu ya ile kazi ambayo Senate ilikuwa imefanya katika gereza lile. Kwa Mheshimiwa Spika, ni muhimu swala hili liweze kuangaliwa kwa undani, kwa sababu tulipokuwa tuhudumu pia katika kamati ya sheria na haki za binadamu, Mheshimiwa Spika, tuliwahi kuzuru gereza la industrial area, na pale Mheshimiwa Spika, wafungwa wanaishi katika hali ngumu sana, hususan wale ambao wako katika rumande ambao wanasubiri kesi zao ili waweze kumaliza kesi ndio waende nyumbani. Mheshimiwa Spika, hawa wanazuiliwa katika gereza labda wengine kwa bondi za 5,000, 10,000, ambapo mahakama zetu hazijaweza kuzingatia hali ya uchumi na hali ya maisha ya wananchi wa Kenya. Mheshimiwa Spika, mtu amepelekwa mahakamani kwa makosa madogo, anapewa bondi ya 20,000, anapewa bondi ya 100,000, anaambiwa lete title deed, lete logbook. Yote ya Mheshimiwa Spika yanachangia kujaza watu katika gereza zetu, wakati hali zilivyo Mheshimiwa Spika, gereza zile haziridhishi. Mheshimiwa Spika, japokuwa serikali, Mheshimiwa Spika, mkumbushe Senator Mofaya hatuko Runyenjes hapa. Mheshimiwa Spika, tukiangalia magereza yaliyojengwa, yote magereza yalijengwa kabla ya uhuru. Nchi ya Kenya kwa muda wa miaka 60 sasa karibu hatujajenga gereza hata moja. Kwa hivyo nafasi katika gereza zetu Mheshimiwa Spika ni ndogo na wengi wafungwa wanapata shida. Kwa hivyo tuomba Mheshimiwa Spika kwamba masuala haya ya vipi tutaweza kutatua tatizo la msongamano katika jela zetu ni lazima yaangaliwe kwa undani zaidi, ili tuone kwamba wale ambao wanahukumiwa wanapata afueni kutokana na hali mbaya za magereza zetu. Asante Mheshimiwa Spika kwa kunipa fursa hii.
Senator Mohammed, thank you, but honorable senators, I made a direction that we should take strictly 2 minutes for each senator making a comment on the statement, because we have a lot of them here this afternoon. Senator Chelagey. And avoid a lot of protocols, just go to the point.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. And it is good to note that Senator Amida is following in my footsteps. Mr. Speaker, sir, in this country we have 134 facilities, prisons. And as my former member, Senator Faki, has said, the capacity of 134 facilities or prisons we have in this country should be 30,000. Mr. Speaker, it's sad that we have 60,000 prisoners, and 51% are what we call pre-trial detainees. That is around 35,000. So there is a lot of congestion in our prison facilities, Mr. Speaker. I remember at that time we were finalizing on the report on reforms in postal institutions. And then, before Senator Okongo Mugeni took over, but it looks like they didn't complete that work. Because, Mr. Speaker, apart from the congestion in the prisons, it's also land grabbing, like Shikudza prison. When you go to Shikudza prison, private people are tilling and farming maize in that area, Mr. Speaker. So this issue of payment of fine, Mr. Speaker, I think government should come up with modalities on how even people who are arrested because of Changa, they are being fined 500 shillings, 200 shillings, Mr. Speaker. I think it is very important that we look a way out to ensure that we don't hold them unnecessarily, Mr. Speaker, in their prisons. So I agree with her that we need to relook. There are many young Kenyans, people who have been arrested because of loitering, disorder. People have gone out and they have taken some things, Mr. Speaker, and I think it is finally, Mr. Speaker, on the issue of KEMSA, I think I can say the issues have been raised, have been overtaken by events. But I expected that to congratulate the President for doing cleanup in KEMSA, Mr. Speaker.
Senator Manzo Daniel.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I want first to comment on the matter from Muranga and wish to say that no Kenyan should die in our hospitals simply because there are delays or hospitals in the counties are not prepared to handle emergencies. Mr. Speaker, health sector should fully be devolved to the counties. Mr. Speaker, on the matter of the prisons, first, I want to thank Kwanza for the action they have taken. They fundraised and went and paid some of these fines. And Governor Songo, when he was a politician, he used to do this quite a lot. He would pay even 100,000 and all over the country, and a lot of people went free. Mr. Speaker, what is most important is 1st of June is coming. Ordinarily, people who are serving small sentences should be released by the president through a presidential order, because that will really decongest the prisons. And if somebody had already served and probably they have learned their lesson, as a lawyer, you will find a lot of people in the prisons, really, who are there for misdemeanors, small things, little fines as has been done. But more important, if you can, the same Kwanza can press for a presidential release. I know they have the statistics of all these offenses. Then the president will do the country good. A lot of these people will go back and start their lives in the villages, be useful to their families, and again also stop using more money in the prisons by feeding them and by keeping them there, and reduce the chances of disease of overcrowded prisons, Mr. Speaker. On the matter of KEMSA, Mr. Speaker, it is important this House gets seized of the matter, does his bit. The President has done his bit. But the work of, I want to agree with you, the work of Senate and the committees must go on, because we are able to provide finer details, and probably more people will be captured and sent to prison, this time not to be released urgently, so that Kenyans can conserve their money. Mr. Speaker, 3.7.
Senator Manzo, I've received a text message from the Chair Kwanza that they are looking at the men senators keenly, what they can be able to do as men senators. Next is Senator Kipkemoi Kisang.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. You've just talked about the male senators, so I want to thank the Kwanza for going to Langata prison and helping the mothers and the children. So I hope also they'll extend the same during Father's Day in June to go to the male prison, maybe committee or somewhere, and also help. We are there to help. We can send the ladies to the female senators to go to the male prisons also and will chip in and contribute so that our people who did maybe petty offenses can be released. Honorable Speaker, what also touched me is about the school in Baringo, in Cabernet. You know, this is a special school and the school has been closed because of lack of resources. I don't know, what is the business of Minister of Education? The Minister of Education is supposed to pay for the teachers, pay for the workers, and also feed these particular children in special school. Honorable Speaker, this is very urgent. You know, it's something that requires that the Education Committee needs to go to that particular region and find out why, and those who have held the resources should be put to jail. It's serious. This is very serious. I mean, it is very serious. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Minority Whip, Senator Stewart Mazayo.
Asante Bwana Spika. Bwana Spika, nataka kuongeza mkono kwa hili swala ambalo ni la madawa katika hospitali yetu. Bwana Spika, hili shirika letu la KEMSA, Bwana Spika, hivi sasa limepoteza sifa yake katika ile tunaita Global Fund, ambapo wanatusaidia na pesa ili kuweza kununua madawa na kuweza kusambaza madawa haya. Bwana Spika, sijui ni njia gani itatumika kuona kwamba serikali inaweza kuchukua hatua ili kuregesha ile tunaita confidence ama kuregesha imani na shirika letu la KEMSA. Kwa hivi sasa shirika hili limepoteza ile wadhifa wake. Ya pili Bwana Spika, ni kwamba ikiwa imechukuliwa hatua na hawa watu waliofanya ukora kama ule pale ndani ama ufisadi wa aina yote kama ule, na imejulikana wazi na hata wameachishwa kazi, hiyo si mwisho. Bwana Spika, vitendo ambavyo walifanya pale ndani ni kwamba kuna pesa zimepotea na ni lazima serikali iweze kufuata hizo pesa. Nataka kujua ikiwa serikali nia yake ni nini baada hawa watu wamefutwa kazi. Kitendo cha uhalifu hakiwezi kumalizika. Ni lazima mkondo wa sheria ufate. Hawa walioondolewa katika kazi zao kule KEMSA, ni lazima sasa hatua ianze kufatwa ili waweze kupelekwa mahakamani, tuone ya kwamba wameshtakiwa na haki ya wananchi imepatikana. Bwana Spika, nataka kuja kwa hili swali la pili la shule yetu ya watoto wasiosikia, School of the Deaf, ile ambayo iko kule.
Asante sana kiongozi. Mpenda dakika moja tu.
Bwana Spika, zile shule zetu ambazo ziko na watoto ambao ni walemavu, hususan tukigusia pande ya Kabarnet, ile shule ambayo ya watoto ambao hawana masikio, ingekuwa bora zaidi serikali iweze kujitoa kimasomaso ili kuona ya kwamba wale watoto kule wanaosoma kule wameweza kupelekewa pesa, ile shule inaweza kupelekewa pesa ili waweze kujifundisha zaidi. Kumalizia Bwana Spika, ni kwamba tunasema ya kwamba wapelekewe hundi la pesa ile skuli, badala ya kufungwa ifunguliwe iweze kusaidia wananchi.
Asante sana kiongozi. Ya wachache. Honorable senators, let me make this other communication so that we release the visitors to proceed to their schools. Honorable senators, in the public gallery we have 78 students accompanied by 5 teachers from Embakasi Girls High School in Nairobi County, or in the Senate on an education tour. Honorable senators, in our short tradition of receiving and welcoming visitors to Parliament, I extend a warm welcome to them, and on behalf of the Senate and on my own behalf, wish them a fruitful visit. Nairobi Senator. Sifuna Edwin.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I would like to take this opportunity on behalf of my colleagues in the House to join you in welcoming the students from Embakasi Girls, to just assure them that they have come on a good afternoon when there is some good matters on the floor of the House, that you can be able to experience a debate on the floor and to learn something during your trip. I hope you have got an opportunity to go to the National Assembly as well. Mine is just to wish you a fruitful tour of the Senate and to assure you that these seats do not have any persons that they are reserved for. Even you, if you finish school, you work hard, and you listen to your parents and to your teachers, you will find yourself in this chamber one day debating matters of the nation, just like you can see happening this afternoon. So mine is to wish you well. Tell your parents I thank them, those of them who vote in Embakasi, who voted for me, and assure them that I will do my best on this floor to represent the people of Nairobi. I thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Many delegations, I understand. There is another delegate from Nairobi who wants to welcome the students.
Shukrani Bwana Spika. Nataka kuchukua fursa hii Bwana Spika kuwakaribisha wanafunzi wa shule ya upili ya Embakasi. Shule tunajivunia hapa Nairobi, shule ya wasichana ambao mimi najua wanaweka bidii sana. Ningetaka kuwahimiza muweke bidii katika masomo yenu. Bwana Spika, niwaeleze ya kwamba sisi kazi yetu kama maseneta ni kuangalia shughuli ya magavana, vile wanachapa kazi na vile wanatekeleza majukumu yao kama magavana. Niwaeleze pia sisi tumepitia hapo katika kitengo cha shule ya upili, na pia nyinyi mwaweza kuwa hapa ambapo sisi tupo. Mchukue fursa hii, mchukue nafasi hii kuwa na mwelekeo na mwangaza ambao kesho utaweza kuwasaidia na muweze kutimiza ndoto zenyu. Muheshimu walimu wenyu, muheshimu wazazi wenyu nyakati zote, na Mungu awabariki. Asante Bwana Chair.
Senator William Cheptumo.
Mr. Speaker, I want to thank the Senator Kibwana for raising a statement on the closure of Cabernet School for the Deaf. Mr. Speaker, last week, I had a chance to reach out to the Minister in charge of education, and also the Member of Parliament, Baringo Central, did the same. Mr. Speaker, we were given the assurance that the school will be reopened and that government shall facilitate the provision of food and all the other facilities. Mr. Speaker, it is shocking that up to today, I'm still surprised that up to today, perhaps they have not been able to do so. So, Mr. Speaker, this is a very unfortunate situation. You are talking of children in the conditions they are in. They don't have food. There's no payment for their teachers, and so on. And I think, Mr. Speaker, as we speak about the situation in Cabernet, in Baringo County, it is important that the government be able to look at these schools across the country. Because, Mr. Speaker, sometimes we don't give them the appropriate attention, just like we give to the other schools, the other institutions. So, Mr. Speaker, I want to thank my sister, and I want to request the ministry in charge and the minister to fulfill the promise he had given and the assurance that he was going to act immediately and ensure the school is reopened, if it has not been reopened by now, so that we have our students learn. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Let's get the statement by Senator Khalid Joyce.
Yeah, thank you, Honorable Speaker. I rise pursuant to the Standing Order 53-1 to seek a statement from the Standing Committee on Trade, Industrialization and Tourism on non-compliance with the standard ways and measures in tea marketing affecting smallholder farmers. In the statement, the committee should shed light on the reports of non-compliance with the standard weights and measures in tea growing zones, stating specific measures the Ministry of Investment, Trade and Industry is implementing to ensure that the weight equipment used in tea buying centers is calibrated and is in compliance with the Weights and Measures Act, Cap 51.3. Honorable Speaker, second is the state plans to strengthen the enforcement of regulations governing compliance of standard weights and measures in the agricultural sector, specifically in tea growing areas. And thirdly, state initiative in place to improve extension services and enhance negotiation skills among stakeholders, the farmers, to effectively deal with stake brokers and traders in tea marketing markets who exploits the farmers. And finally, cause the Ministry of Investments, Trade and Industry, and Department of Weights and Measures to deploy more county officers to inspect weighing machines at tea buying centers, stating the resource requirement to enhance the compliance. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Thank you. Two statements from Kisii County Senator, Richard Onyonka.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for giving me this opportunity. And Mr. Speaker, I rise pursuant of Standing Order 53.1 to seek a statement from the Standing Committee on Health regarding the state operations in Kisii Teaching and Referral Hospital. In the statement, the committee should, number one, state the reasons for the inordinate delay in opening the mother and child wing of the Kisii Teaching and Referral Hospital. Number two, table a detailed report on the operational capacity of medical equipment in use, the availability of drugs, the capacity of essential hospital facilities, giving reasons for any observed deficiencies. Number three, indicate whether a system has been put in place to monitor and control the distribution of medicines to health facility in the whole of Kisii County, and if not, state when and how it will be implemented, indicating the timelines and timeframes. Number four, disclose how much revenue the hospital has been collecting since September 2021, stating the specific accounts where these funds are and how much these funds are up to now. Number five, undertake an assessment visit to the Kisii Teaching and Referral Hospital by the committee to assess its operational capacity, its availability, the availability of basic services such as running water and all the other essential services. Number six, state the reasons for the closure of Kisii County Government Hospital in Nyamarambe at the Nyamarambe Health Center, which serves many residents of South Mugirango constituencies. And Mr. Speaker, I would like somebody to indicate whether this hospital has been opened and whether it is not. Number seven, explain the measures in place to ensure that the affected residents of the Nyamarambe area are accessing medical services if it hasn't been opened. Lastly, Mr. Speaker, I would like the committee, and that's my point number 10, to table a report on all the health facilities in Kisii County, stating the number of doctors, clinical officers, and nurses that are providing their services to these facilities, with an audit report on the titles and the professional qualifications. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Senator Beatrice Ogola.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir. I rise pursuant to Standing Order 53.1 to seek a statement from the Standing Committee of Land, Environment and Natural Resources regarding the proposed relocation of Homa Bay GOK prisons to Ndewa sub-county instead of the earlier proposed university on the same parcel of land. Honorable Speaker, in the statement, the committee should state when this decision for the relocation of the GOK prisons to Ndewa was made, arrived at disclosing the parties that were involved, Mr. Speaker, sir. Who were involved? State when public participation with the residents of Ndewa community and stakeholders was conducted. Mr. Speaker, tabling evidence of the consultations and who were involved in the consultations and the basis for the resolutions that were made. Third, Mr. Speaker, in the statement state the considerations that were made in the selection of the proposed university land in Ndewa, as it is at the heart of our locals, where the GOK prison would be relocated to, stating the exact location of the land where the prison is to be relocated to and who was consulted on that location. And lastly, Mr. Speaker, sir, in that statement, the committee should undertake a visit to Ndewa sub-county to ascertain the lack of consultation, which is a constitutional requirement, and to avert a potential conflict with the community, Mr. Speaker, sir. Senator Beatrice Akinyi Ogola, MP.
Let me give 2 or 3 senators to make comments. Senator Omar Sheikh Maliam.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I rise to support the statement raised by Senator Hamida about the prison inmate released. Mr. Speaker, I have to, as a treasurer of KEWASA, I thank our male senators for contributing, and also not forgetting our clerks. Mr. Speaker, also on Cabernet School, if I ask question, if that school is closed, where do you think that those kids can get education? To my opinion, Mr. Speaker, in the budget of education, there must be a line of education budget for special education for schools, so that it must be reinforced so that it cannot be used for other purposes. Mr. Speaker, when it comes to health, because almost 3 or 4 statements is touching on health. Mr. Speaker, health is devolved, and national government and county government must be very serious with health issues, because if we go to hospital and we cannot get what we want, when it comes to drugs, it's there. And in one statement, there is no word. So if we ask ourselves, what is this budget for county health doing? Because if there's no infrastructures there. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Senator Professor Ojienda.
Mr. Speaker, sir, I rise to contribute to the statement by the nominated senator for Kericho on the need to enhance the growing of tea and the marketing of tea through more centers. Mr. Speaker, sir. Mr. Speaker, I want to comment on the structure of the agriculture, fisheries and food industries AFA of 2013, which consolidates the law on the management of crops and which was enacted at the same time as the Crops Act 2013, Mr. Speaker, sir. Mr. Speaker, sir, I wish to state that there is need for the government to ring-fence the administration of AFA because it deals with several crops, including tea, including coffee, including sugarcane. And the board that is established under Section 6 of the Act has roles that go to questions and that speak to the statement read in the House today, that the board of AFA must rise to the occasion and ensure that contracts entered into protect the marketing, the sale, and ring-fence crops such as tea. And I believe that the nominated senator for Kericho, she's busy talking there and I'm contributing to her statement, I think should speak to the authority
Because you are professor, let me give you 1 minute.
Thank you. Mr. Speaker, we know that the advent of AFA repealed several statutes that administer many crops. And the board of AFA, since it deals with every crop in this country, is crucial to every senator from an agricultural area. And given that agriculture is a devolved function under Schedule 4 of the Constitution, Mr. Speaker, sir, we as Senate should ensure that we ring-fence the administration of AFA so that the board has sufficient funds to administer tea, coffee, sugarcane, and all the crops defined under the Crops Act. Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir.
Senator Mohamed Abdara Shakila.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I rise to support the statement by Honorable Beatrice on the issue of relocating the prison. Mr. Speaker, we have just been having a discussion on the prisons whereby the government has no capacity to expand the existing prisons. I really wonder how they do have the capacity to relocate the existing prison to a new prison. Mr. Speaker, and consultation is key. If the people or the community is not consulted on the public, or public participation is not done on the issue of land as to where this prison is going to be relocated, this is bound to bring some conflicts. As we're all aware, land issue is very emotional. So, Mr. Speaker, I really wonder whether this thing was really thought deeply about it and properly consulted, because it really doesn't make any sense. I'm sorry, Mr. Speaker, but it doesn't really make any sense for relocating a prison whereby instead of expanding it, we know expanding a prison is much cheaper than relocating it to put a new building or a new facility somewhere else. So with those few remarks, I really support this statement by Elizabeth. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Senator Esther Okenyuri.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I rise to support the statement that has actually been read by the Kisii Senator, Honorable Richard Onyonka. And I want to bring to the attention of members that actually the Committee on Health was prioritizing visiting that area, but that was postponed. And specifically on the issue of the Nduru Hospital, Mr. Speaker, I want to bring to your attention that that hospital has been closed for a while now. Initially, the health officials who are working there were withdrawn after some skirmishes actually arose, which was because of transfer of medical equipment that was moved from that hospital to another area. Consequently, now the hospital was shut down, and who suffers most in this area is the citizens of Nduru Hospital, Mr. Speaker, who are actually relying on services to get close to them. So in as much as there could be these issues, I want to actually support Senator Onyonka for bringing this matter up now, and it is actually taking long because now the citizens are missing on major medical services, and don't be surprised, we might actually lose several lives because the distance taken from Duru to any other nearby hospital facility is a very long one. I also want to commit to Senator Onyonka that as a member of the Health Committee, we are going to prioritize this issue, and surely the citizens of South Mogrango deserve services closer to their people. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you. Let us observe the three statements from Senator Morango James.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I rise to request for statement on amputation of baby Ridwan Yasil Nus, fingers at Kirwaya County Referral Hospital. Mr. Speaker, I rise pursuant to Standing Order 53-1 to seek a statement from the Standing Committee on Health regarding the amputation of baby Ridwan Yasil Nus finger at Kirwaya County Referral Hospital in a suspected case of medical negligence. In this statement, the committee should explain the circumstances that led to the amputation of 1-year-old baby Ridwan Yasil Nus finger while undergoing treatment for pneumonia at Kerugoya County Referral Hospital on 7th March 2023. Number 2, clarify whether the amputation was as a result of medical negligence and neglect of duty by the hospital administration and medics. 3, state the steps taken even by the Minister of Health to ensure that justice is served to the victim, stating the actions that will be taken against the medical practitioners involved. 4, provide details on the level of adherence to medical safety and precautionary measures in administration of medical care at Kerugoya County Referral Hospital. And 5, state reasons even where the management of Kerugoya County Referral Hospital has not provided baby Ridwan's family with his medical report despite several requests from the parents. Second statement, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I rise to request a statement on the plans to establish a public teachers training college in Kirinyaga County. Mr. Speaker, I rise pursuant to Standing Order 53-1 to seek a statement from the Standing Committee on Education on establishment of public teachers training college in Kirinyaga County. In the statement, the committee should, 1, explain the reasons why the government has not established a public teacher training college in Kirinyaga County, despite establishing many of such colleges in other counties. 2, state key consideration made by the government before establishing a public teachers training college in the county. 3, spell out measures, even that the Minister of Education has put in place to establish a public teachers training college in Kirinyaga County, stating whether funds for the same will be provided in the 2023-2024 financial year budget. Lastly, Mr. Speaker, I stand here to request for a statement on the delayed construction of Kemuri Wamomo Station Medical Facility in Kirinyaga County. Mr. Speaker, I rise pursuant to Standing Order 53-1 to seek a statement from the Standing Committee on Health regarding the delayed construction of Kenya Medical Research Institute Kemuri Wamomo Station Medical Facility in Mwea West Sub-County, Kirinyaga County. In the statement, the committee should, 1, appraise the Senate of the nature of medical facility intended to be constructed on the 100-acre piece of public land given to the Kenya Medical Research Institute Kemuri by Kirinyaga County government, stating the scope of works to be undertaken and the range of services to be offered once the facility is complete. 2, state whether the contract for the construction has been awarded, and if so, indicate whether there is a clause in the contract as regarding job opportunities for locals during construction as exposed in the County Government Act 2012, particularly for the unskilled labor. 3, state any logistical and all financial challenges Kemri may be having in undertaking the projects and the measure put in place to address those challenges. And finally, indicate when the construction is likely to commence and the tentative completion date. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you. You to make a comment, Senator Beatrice Akinyi. You have a comment on those statements?
Yeah. Thank you, Honorable Speaker, for giving me the chance. Honorable Speaker, I want to support and comment on the statement by the Honorable Senator for Kisii County, Senator Richard Onyonka, on the operations at the Kisii Teaching and Referral Hospital and on the closure of Nyamarambe Health Center. Honorable Speaker, for some times and up to just the other day, Kisii Teaching and Referral Hospital was a referral hospital for our region because it is level 5. And so it is a hospital that is close to our heart. And secondly, Honorable Speaker, why I want to comment on this is that, Honorable Speaker, I've seen the operations and the management at this hospital, and I've seen none other than the governor of Kisii at some point go to the hospital and purport to close the mortuary and send away staff. And Honorable Speaker, on management, there's something called division of labor, where workers have duties that they perform. Honorable Speaker, leadership really does not call for just chest thumping and showing who you are. Honorable Speaker, what would this country be if the head of state in this country were to walk to Kenyatta National Hospital or any other hospital and just send away staff, mortuary attendants and every other person? Honorable Speaker, in this country there is order. We are here struggling with the issues of health ministries at counties, and we are saying let us not add on to the problems that we have. Let there be order in running facilities. Let the governors give opportunity to the staff that they have appointed as CECs, as chief of.
Thank you, but Senator Beatrice, you know, I didn't cut too short. You know, we are already done with the statements by Senator Onyonka. Now we are on the statements by Senator Amorango, Kirinyaga. One last person, maybe, Senator Medu.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker, sir. I also rise to comment on the two statements or three statements that have been sought by the Senator for Kirinyaga. And I think I would want to start by the very sad statement that he is seeking about baby, I'm looking for the name. Oh yeah, thank you very much. Thank you very much. Baby Ridwan Yasir Nur Fingers, Mr. Speaker, which I think is a very sad, and Mr. Speaker, the Committee on Health must pronounce itself on these occurrences that we've been seeing. It's not really fair that every time a senator comes here, we are asking statements on issues that are suspected to be negligence, Mr. Speaker. I have heard and I watched in the news, and I would not want to comment because I know the Committee on Health will do due diligence, that the little baby, a 1-year-old baby, Mr. Speaker, was being treated for pneumonia and was given the wrong prescription, and has lost 4 fingers of his or her left hand, Mr. Speaker. I think that is so sad that a 1-year-old kid will have to live with such devastating effects out of the said negligence. So, Mr. Speaker, the Committee on Health must pronounce itself on this. The second and final thing, Mr. Speaker, the good senator for Kirinyaga is seeking a statement to know why there is not an established teachers' college in Kirinyaga. Mr. Speaker, some of the things that we speak about, when we spoke about devolution, we spoke about taking services closer to the people. Maybe he should have extended to even say that in the whole of our region, the Mount Kenya region, it's only in Nyandarua County that does not have a university, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you. Senator Kibwana Ali Haminda.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I also want to support my brother, Senator Murango, on regards of medical negligence of baby Ridwan Yasir's fingers. It's very sad, you know, a 1-year-old baby being amputated or cut fingers just because of medical negligence. This baby only had pneumonia, then of course they ended up, you know, amputating or cutting his fingers. It's very sad. I think medical negligence is on the increase, and Kerugoya County referral should be investigated. And me being in the as a member of health committee, I promise to champion that. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you. Senator Tabitha Mutinda.
Mstahiki Spika, nachukua fursa hii kukushukuru kwa kunipa nafasi hii niweze kuchangia mjadala wa Seneta Murango kuhusu mtoto huyu ambaye vidole vyake viliweza kukatwa na hospitali ya rufaa ya kaunti ya Kerugoya. Itakuwaje bwana Spika, mtoto ambaye anaugua ugonjwa wa pumu yafikia namna gani anakatwa vidole na madaktari katika hospitali hii? Tumeweza kuelezewa na kusikia kana kwamba bwana Spika, madaktari hawajaweza kupeana ile ripoti ambayo inahitajika katika familia yake ya mtoto huyu. Ni uchungu sana kama mzazi kuona ya kwamba hospitali ambayo ziko katika sasa ugatuzi, ambazo sisi kama seneti twazitetea sana, inafika hawatimizi majukumu yanayofaa kisheria. Ni njia ya kusikitisha sana bwana Spika. Ni jambo ambalo kwa dharura twaomba kamati ya afya iweze kushughulikia hili jambo kwa kina kabisa, tuweze sisi pia kupatiwa ripoti kwa nini mtoto huyu amepoteza vyake vidole katika umri mdogo, na ile uzembe wa madaktari ambao uko katika ile hospitali hawajaweza kushughulika zaidi kueleza kinagaubaga kile kimesababisha haya. Lingine ni kwamba bwana Seneta Murango amezungumzia ile maendeleo ya kutengenezwa katika hospitali ile iko pale ya kufanya uchunguzi zaidi katika kaunti ya Kerugoya, kaunti ya Kirinyaga, sehemu ya Kerugoya. Bwana Spika,
hospitali ile iko pale ya kufanya uchunguzi inaitwa hospitali ya rufaa. Referral ni rufaa. Next order. No. The statement pursuant to standing order 57-1, the majority leader.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, sir, pursuant to standing order number 57-1, I hereby present to the Senate the business of the House for the week commencing 30th of May, 2023, being a Tuesday. Before I proceed, sir, let me take this opportunity to welcome honorable senators back from the short recess. We look forward to a fruitful session over the next few weeks until the next recess, which is scheduled to begin on the 29th of June, 2023. 2, there are important financial statements, instruments which require to be prioritized within Part 3 of the Senate calendar. These are the County Allocation Revenue Bill, Senate Bill number 16 of 2023, the Equalization Fund Appropriation Bill, Senate Bill number 3, 2023, and the Equalization Band Administration Bill, Senate Bill number 14 of 2023. The expeditious consideration, passage, and assent of these financial instruments will give way for the instruction of the county government's additional allocation bill number of 2023 and county government's cash disbursement schedule. Mr. Speaker, sir, it is envisaged that the second reading debate on the county allocation of revenue bill, Senate Bill number 16 of 2023, will commence on 30th May 2023, being a Tuesday. I hope that the Standing Committee on Finance and Budget will table a report thereon so as to inform senators during the second reading. On the other hand, the Equalization Fund Appropriation Bill, Senate Bill number 3 of 2023, is scheduled in today's order paper at the Committee of the Whole for division. I therefore urge all honorable senators to be available in the Senate to consider and pass this very important bill. The Equalization Band Administration Bill will be scheduled in the order paper from 5th of June 2023 or at any other earlier time that the Senate Business Committee so directs, in consultation, of course, with its mover. Mr. Speaker, sir, with respect to the other bills in the Senate, a further 19 in addition to the County Allocation of Revenue Bill 2023 and the Equalization Fund Administration Bill 2023 are at the second reading stage, while another 4, together with the Equalization Fund Appropriation Bill, are the Committee of the Whole stage. 4 bills are undergoing concurrence pursuant to Article 110(3) of the Constitution, and one other bill was enacted into law and is now an act of Parliament. This adds up to a total of 31 bills in the Senate. From the above statistics, however, we are moving at a rather slow pace in consideration and passage of bills. I therefore implore upon honorable senators to prioritize House business in plenary and that movers of bills to be available in the chamber whenever the bills are listed on the order paper. I also request the majority and minority whips to mobilize a requisite number of senators for divisions on bills to be undertaken in a timely manner. Mr. Speaker, sir, other business before the Senate include 19 petitions referred to various and various statements pursuant to Standing Order number 53 and Standing Order number 52. I urge standing committees to expedite the consideration of petitions and statements and to table reports pursuant in the standing orders. There are 20 motions on diverse topics which are also pending consideration. I urge the respective movers of these motions to be in the chamber whenever they are scheduled on the order paper. As senators will recall, the Speaker issued a communication on the 2nd of May 2023, whose effect was that Standing Order number 64.3 would apply in the event that a mover of a business scheduled on the order paper is not present in the chamber at the time specified. In this regard, I take this opportunity to urge all honorable members with business scheduled in the order paper to be in the House to prosecute those businesses. Mr. Speaker, sir, the procedure for consideration of questions is taking root. At this meeting held on 23rd of May 2023, the Senate Business Committee approved 4th set of questions to be scheduled in the order paper, and the summary of those questions at the Cabinet Secretaries to appear are as follows. 1. Question by the nominated Senator, Senator Veronica Maina, MP, to the Cabinet Secretary for Mining, Blue Economy, and Maritime Affairs concerning the suitability and capacity of Bandari College to train seafarers. 2. A question by the Senator of Laikipia County, the Senator John Kinyua Nderitu, MP, to the Cabinet Secretary for Interior and National Administration concerning the state of security in Laikipia County and the wider North Rift region. 3, question by the Senator for Laikipia County, again, the Senator John Kinyua Nderitu, MP, to the Cabinet Secretary for Interior and National Administration concerning rampant abuse of ketamine. And finally, but not least, the 4th question being the question by the Senator of Kakamega County, the Senator Dr. Bonnie Khalwale, MP, to the Cabinet Secretary for Education concerning action taken to facilitate a resumption of learning at the Mukumu Girls High School in Kakamega. Mr. Speaker, sir, on Tuesday, 30th May 2023, the Senate's Business Committee will consider and approve business of the day. This will contain business that will not only be concluded in today's order paper, but also the business scheduled in the notice paper, in today's order paper, and any other business scheduled on the Senate Business Committee. The order paper of Wednesday, 31st of May 2023 will, Mr. Speaker, contain business that will be scheduled by the Senate Business Committee, as well as any business that will not be concluded on Tuesday, 30th May 2023. Mr. Speaker, in conclusion, Thursday, 1st of June is a public holiday, and as such, the business of this committee has not scheduled any business for the day. I thank you and hereby lay this statement on the table of the Senate today on behalf of the Leader of the Majority, Senator Aaron Cheruiyot, MGH, MP.
Senator Dinga, have a seat. I make some direction, then you can proceed. Honorable Senators, I want to reorganize the business pending for today. The business appearing under order number 8, number 9, number 10, number 11 are defunct. So we now go to under business and order number 12. Read out the order.
Order number 12, the Cotton Industry Development Bill, Senate Bills number 5 of 2023, second reading.
Honorable Senators, the last time this debate was interrupted, Senator Aminda Kibwana had a balance of 18 minutes. Are you ready for the 18 to execute the 18 minutes? Or you are done with your...
No, Mr. Speaker, I think I did my 5 or 3 minutes, but then I was through.
Okay,
unless
fine.
now
Thank
I want
you.
to...
Thank you for saving on time.
Thank you.
Next is Senator Chalgai Samson Kiprotich.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I want to say yesterday when we wanted to contribute, I think time got a little bit, and Mr. Speaker, to also welcome students that are on public gallery. I hope they are following the debate keenly and learning a lot. Mr. Speaker, the Cotton Industry Development Bill 2023 is a very important bill. Mr. Speaker, we are looking at developing the capacity of farmers. My county, over 80% to 90% entirely depend on farming, like tea, coffee, milk, among others, Mr. Speaker, sir. This bill has come as a better time because we need to revive. There is what we call Kigomi textile, Mr. Speaker, sir. There is also what we call Rivertex, and Rivertex is being revived in Eldoret, Mr. Speaker. And I remember the Indian government in the last dispensation has given around 4 billion to revive Eldoret Rivertex and also Kikomi textile, which in any way, if we revive these ginneries and textile processing, Mr. Speaker, sir, it will allow us, Mr. Speaker, to be able to do a lot in terms of cotton. Mr. Speaker, my neighboring counties I've seen, Nandi has a potential of growing cotton, but from the schedule I see, they have become selective. Although I am aware where Senator Okoiti Omtata, the People's Watchman, he normally says, Senator of Republic of Kenya, but elected by the people of Busia, as the biggest ginnery in the western part. And I'm happy that the chairperson, Senator Murango, and his committee were able to visit Busia County, and we follow the proceedings. Mr. Speaker, we are waiting for the report. Mr. Speaker, I'm also made aware that Meru is also Watu ya Pamba, but not the famous Pamba we use in politics. I know there is somebody who says in this country that Yene will become a Pamba, but that is not the Pamba we are talking about. This is the Pamba that is serious about the crop, Mr. Speaker. And I think Nandi also has a potential, because I've seen Rift Valley, they're talking about Baringo, Elgeyo Marakwet, Kericho. Kericho and Nandi have almost similar climatic conditions. And therefore, the revival of cotton is very important. Mr. Speaker, we are looking at providing incentives as per the plan or the manifesto that President William Ruto has put in place. And I'm happy that Senator Siengo is a good student of the plan by His Excellency President William Ruto. And therefore, this revival is very important. We should speak to it, Mr. Speaker, so that we ensure we revive. The golden opportunity, Mr. Speaker, is to revive, but to look at sustainability. When you look at Millennium Development Goals, you look at Sustainable Development Goals, we should look a way of subsidizing production over consumption. And that should be the real motivation, Mr. Speaker, in terms of going into the future, Mr. Speaker. And therefore, cotton is an issue that is cross-cutting across the country, Mr. Speaker, and it should be given the necessary attention it should be. And I'm happy, Mr. Speaker, that the Senate has prepared a raft of legislative intervention to support farmers. We have coffee development bill. We now have coffee bill. And I was telling the chairperson of Agriculture, Senator Murango, who is the distinguished senator of Kirinyaga, that the Agriculture Committee is doing extremely well, because I can see the number of bills, Mr. Speaker, including mine, the livestock and produce and against theft of livestock also is part. And I think agriculture is fully devolved. I'm excited that this session, the fourth session of the Senate, will become a serious session, Mr. Speaker, that will be known as agricultural session. Because without agriculture, this country is not there, Mr. Speaker. You can see the tourism, foreign exchange has collapsed because of COVID. We now had foreign income, Mr. Speaker, Madam Speaker, sorry, I know the change at the seat. That the aspect of now we need to revive agriculture to reclaim their position of giving us the highest foreign exchange, Madam Speaker. And therefore, I want to commend this bill and to congratulate Senator Siengo for this wonderful bill, but express a few reservations here and there. For example, Mr. Speaker, I've seen a provision that looks idle, but it will be very dangerous in the long run. Mr. Speaker, when I look at Part 3, Clause 23, D, Mr. Speaker, it is also exciting that the Senator of Nairobi is in the House today, is in the House today. Part 3, Role of County Governments, Clause 23, 1D. It says, regulate the cutting or destruction of cotton in order to conserve and protect the resources devoted to the cotton industry in the prospective county. So, Speaker, this is the provision we fought. You remember in the Colonial Tea Act, they had said it was criminal to cut even a tree of tea under the Tea Act. Mr. Speaker, Madam Speaker.
Point of order, Okoiti.
Yes, I raise on a point of order, understanding order number 39 on the quorum of the Senate. I don't think we have got quorum to conduct business.
Can you confirm, Clerk? It has been reported to me that we don't have quorum, so I wish to order that the quorum bell be rung for 10 minutes.
Well, Senator Catherine Muma, who is currently presiding over the Senate business at this time, has just directed that a quorum bell be rung for 10 minutes. And of course, this is for the members who are within the parliamentary precincts and not in the chambers to get into the chambers and enable the House achieve its requisite quorum for the business to continue. This is after Senator stood under Standing Order 139 to indicate that the House lacks enough quorum or the requisite quorum for the business to continue. And therefore, currently is a 10-minute quorum bell. Of course, we hope that the quorum will be achieved, but according to the standing orders, if the quorum is not achieved, then the chair at the moment may adjourn the sitting until the next sitting. However, what was on the floor of the House this afternoon, members had picked up, or rather had resumed a debate on the Cotton Industry Development Bill originating from the Senate, Bill number 5 of 2023 by Senator Honorable Beth Siengo, a bill that is at its second reading stage, and it is a resumption of a debate that was interrupted on the Wednesday 24th of May 2023 in the afternoon sitting. A look at what exactly this bill entails is that it seeks to provide for the policy and institutional framework within which cotton industry operates by, among others, establishing the Cotton Industry Development Board. According to the author of the bill, is that the cotton industry was once a major foreign exchange earner whose collapse led to massive loss of revenue to the government and farmers. Governmental issues, regulatory challenges, national and international economic realities, and scientific reliability are some of the pressing concerns that need to be addressed by the institution responsible for cotton industry development in order to attain success in the industry. It further indicates that a genuine need for a strong and robust policy and institutional foundation to support and guide the multitude of activities, operations, and interactions within the industry with the aim that the growth of the industry will result to a strengthened agricultural economy, for the various counties across the country. The highlight of this bill is or rather for the revamping. Okay, let's listen in.
Settle down. Senator Cherarke, please proceed.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I think it is important that these are just
Honorable
procedures
Senators,
of the House.
Please sit in silence.
And our students should learn that the issue of quorum and understanding 39 is that we should have a minimum of 15 senators in the House to allow the matter to proceed. Mr. Speaker, I was raising the issue on clause 23, role of county governments, 1D, regulating the cutting or destruction of cotton in order to conserve and protect resources devoted to the cotton industry in respective county. And I was just saying, this is one of the colonial and relic section of the law that was in the Tea Act. And I hope and pray that this clause 23 1D should be deleted or amended or refreshed by the author, that is Senator Siengo, so that under the Tea Act, Madam Speaker, and we thought it was part of under the Tea Act because in Nandi we grow tea in Nandi Hills, in Aldai, in many parts of Nandi. We had a lot of struggle because when you cut down even one tree, the law said you could be arrested. Of course, the Wazungus or the colonialists had their own thinking, Madam Speaker, by forcing us to plant tea, among others. Although that tea, Madam Speaker, has become a problem up to now, as you are aware, across the country, where most of our people were evicted, Madam Speaker, most of our people lost, and that is why we have huge land historical injustices, especially in tea-growing areas, including Nandi. So this section of the law, I think it evokes sad memories on why people like Dendan Kimati, Koitalel Arap Samoe, Mekatili Wamenza, among others, Madam Speaker, fought the freedom. So this clause, respectively, should need to look at it, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, when you look at, that is clause, again, clause 23, that is clause 23, 2J. In collaboration with law enforcement agencies, enhance security in cotton growing areas. I don't know the importation of that part of the law, because I'm only aware people are stealing coffee, sacks and beans, especially from certain part of this country. I don't want to mention the region, Madam Speaker, so that I don't appear that I'm profiling certain regions. And you know the famous Chepkube, Madam Speaker, and big names were being mentioned to the highest office in the land those days of Chepkube. That was happening in Uganda, especially on the issue of coffee. So I don't know this part of the crop. Why should you need collaboration of security agencies? Yet it is not a threat. It cannot be used scientifically to create biological warfare or biological weapons of mass destruction, Madam Speaker. And therefore, the importation of that part of the law by the author of the should relook or reward that, because we might think that cotton is in a manner like gold, that people, Madam Speaker, might want to go and uproot cotton somewhere in Busia or somewhere in Homa Bay or somewhere in Mombasa is a security issue, Madam Speaker. And therefore, this is not a security issue. This is just like any other crop. So because the practicability on the importation of the law will be simple. How many farms can the police walk into? Madam Speaker, when we are doing badly, it is one police officer against more than 3,000 people. In fact, we are not meeting the threshold of United Nations as recommended, Madam Speaker. So if we cannot be protected at that level, then the justification of the importation of that part of the law, Madam Speaker, needs to be relooked at, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, when you look at the licensing of manufacturer, you are creating this section as if it is elitist. We want even cooperative societies, the hustler. Madam Speaker, and you have to be aware there is what we call hustler fund, where we are giving money to individuals, and then we are giving money to SACCOs. So, Madam Speaker, those SACCOs and individuals should be given opportunity to also develop their own manufacturing process of cotton ginnery, Madam Speaker. You know now, this part of the law will make the bourgeois and the wealth and the elitists smile all the way to the bank. Yet we are talking about bottom up, Madam Speaker. So we need to think about the people at the bottom as we go up, Madam Speaker. And I can see Senator Ogola, she's smiling shyly because she's enjoying the gospel. Madam Speaker, when you look at under clause 23 there, a person shall not engage in manufacture or processing of cotton products unless such person has applied for, obtained a license in accordance with this. But you don't want to need, Madam Speaker, the ease of doing business. And that is why our brothers and sisters from your side, they always say the ease of doing business in Kenya is bad. But we are making a law that will become a process. Of course, Madam Speaker, have you walked into some of these shops here in Nairobi, where our brother Senator Sifuna is from? You walk, Madam Speaker, into a shop, and on the wall there is so many license of public health, license of Music Copyright Society, license of NEMA. You know, how can we say ease of doing business like Rwanda or like Singapore, if even under this law we are creating another license again? We might even come up with license of KEFIS, KEFRI, AFA. Madam Speaker, what we should be doing, we should be saying we synchronize the issuance of license. For example, if we use the license of AFA, Agricultural Food Authority of Kenya, AFA, for example, we say we use that one for issue of agricultural products. Because how can we say, and that is what, by the way, Madam Speaker, it will give corruption. And that is why when you go to City Hall here, the single business permit, even at the county levels, because I've sat some time in the public accounts, and the way governors are raising their own source revenue through single business permits, Madam Speaker, you walk into the office and you imagine the whole wall is mosaic. You no longer see the color of the paint of that shop, simply because everybody comes with their license. You board Embakasi, you want to go to Kitengela. I'm told Kitengela is the nearest place, or Ngong. And Madam Speaker, the song called Enda Usikia Vibaya Uko Kwenu, when you want to listen, the people of Copyright Society just walks into the matatu and they say, where is the license to allow you to listen to that song that says, who is your guy? So I don't know. So, so at the end of the day, Madam Speaker, it is the biggest challenge. I think this Senate, we must think, and I can see a number of serious colleagues here, even at the lowest level. And I want to ask Senator Sifuna, can you have advised Governor Sakaja to streamline the issuance of license? They are destroying and frustrating our hustlers and those people who are selling you shoes the other day at night. I want to imagine, Madam Speaker, Senator Sifuna is not only active at night. I hope he's also active during the day, Madam Speaker. When you move, Madam Speaker, because I had only 5 points on the aspect of revocation of the license, I think what my proposal is, it should be easy to give you the license, but hard to revoke it. I think that should be easier, so that you protect, because, Madam Speaker, somebody can be malicious and decide to withdraw your license, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, on the funds of the board, of course, Madam Speaker, on this part, the funds of the board shall consist of monies appropriated by Parliament Where is the money? Madam Speaker, you are aware that how can, and you know it is good Senator Siengo is part of the people who are questioning the Finance Bill 2023. How can we get the money if you do not allow us to pass the Finance Bill 2023 to get the money to appropriate to this board? And Madam Speaker, we have just said in House Levy Fund, it is 3%. For people who earn more than certain amount, it's only 2,500. And the biggest employer, which is government, will match the same amount. And you can reclaim your money within the 7 years. That is 2,500, Madam Speaker. So how does it, and Madam Speaker, you need to protect me from my chair, Senator Kajwang and Senator Ledama. I don't know what they are eating, but it looks like they are. You need to appropriate monies. Where do you get this money if we do not collect through taxes? As we talk, the debt ceiling, Madam Speaker, that was raised by Parliament was 3 trillion. Both local and foreign debt, Madam Speaker, to this country is 9.4 trillion. As we talk today. So it is either we tax, we pay through the tax, or we borrow more. Borrowing more, Madam Speaker, is no longer sustainable. Because with time, the country might not be able to repay and we might be default. And we lose serious national strategic assets. Madam Speaker, I remember our former president, when he was giving out the interview in Mombasa, he had said he would disclose the agreement of the Chinese company that financed the SGR. Madam Speaker, no disclosure was ever made. So we don't know whether JKIA was a collateral or Mombasa Port, because with time, the creditworthiness and raising of taxes and revenue becomes a challenge, Madam Speaker. And therefore, I think, Senator Siengo, you need to look, because you need also to have a board. I wish you could add even, apart from, I think donations can work, grants, loans, or gifts made to the board, and I think that is better. It can sustain the board. But talking about appropriating monies, from where I sit, and looking at projecting the economic situation of the country, we might not have spare money to put it into the board, Madam Speaker. Finally, on the issue of violation of the law, that is the final part, Madam Speaker. Like incentives, of course, I agree with you. What you should be pushing is that let us also give subsidized fertilizer to maize farmers, to cotton farmers, to tea farmers, to coffee farmers, to sugarcane farmers. Let us give everybody a standardized subsidized, Madam Speaker. On the issue of clause 45, because I'm closing that one, a person who commits an offense under this act for which no penalty is provided is liable on conviction of not less than 20,000. Or not twice the value of the cotton or byproduct. Madam Speaker, I think 20,000 is small money. If you want to make this law to be deterrent, Madam Speaker, for you and me who studied criminal law, is you should create the law to be deterrent, to discourage people. So if you say 20,000, somebody will pay. Why don't you increase, Senator Siengo, to even 1.5 million or 1 million to deter? Because the aim or provision of an offense of sentencing and punishment, Madam Speaker, is to deter individuals from participating. And also increase, you can put up to 3 years maximum jail term or both. And also I agree with you on the aspect of corporate governance, especially on lifting the veil. Of course, if you misappropriate the funds, and Senator Siengo, and through you, Madam Speaker, you have had the commitment of the President that he will not entertain any corruption or misappropriation of public funds. And you saw swept clean KEMSA. We are sweeping clean the issue of sugar cane, not sugar cane, the sugar. And I'm told somewhere here in Nairobi, somebody bought a half a kilo. When they want to make tea, it turned into black. So the commitment of the president, and I agree with you, on punishing the corruption has been how high or close you are. You must fill full force of the law. And I think that's a goodwill that we need as a country. Because if it is from the highest office, and he didn't tell us 100 days like during COVID, Madam Speaker, we served in the COVID committee then. And at that time we were told within 100 days heads will roll. This one when Global Fund only reported, those people were fired, Madam Speaker. So the upshot of this bill is the intention is good, the form is good, but maybe to remove one or two only clauses that I think it might affect. Madam Speaker, you know, there is no provision of the law that lies idle. You might just find one provision that will affect everything, that will negate the goodness of the bill. So I hope and pray that by the passage of this law, it will give opportunity to most of our cotton farmers. My only worry, Madam Speaker, is the National Assembly. And I was happy that Senator Moses Masika Wetangula was elected as Speaker. Madam Speaker, when the bills from National Assembly come, we process in a record speed. Even some of us whose bills have been, you see National Assembly bill has been brought forward. But when our bills, if we pass this today, it takes forever to be passed by National Assembly. And Senator Mahanzo knows that National Assembly, normally in conclusion, in quick succession, normally uses article, is it 110 on 110.3 on money bill. Madam Speaker, I hope this bill, the National Assembly will fast track the passage. Let us work in concurrence so that we don't need to fight over our legislative business. With those many remarks, to congratulate my sister and wish her well, I hope to see fruition of this bill and revive our cotton farming in the country once again. I thank you, Madam Speaker.
Honorable Senators, I have a communication on the visiting teachers and students from Meteitei Boys High School in Nandi County. Honorable Senators, in the public gallery, we have 98 students, accompanied by 4 students from Meteitei Boys High School in Tinderet constituency, Nandi County, who are in Senate on an education tour. Honorable Senators, in our usual tradition of receiving and welcoming visitors to Parliament, I extend a warm welcome to them, and on behalf of the Senate and on my own behalf, wish them a fruitful visit. I thank you. Senator Cherarke from Nandi will want to welcome them.
Just to welcome. Madam Speaker, I didn't know it is my school, Meteitei Boys High School. It's one of the best schools in Nandi. After, of course, the great Kapsabet Boys, where I went. And, of course, you know, the second and the fourth and the fifth president are my alma mater in Kapsabet Boys. But Meteitei is one of our best schools. I'm happy they came in when I was contributing. And of course, they don't doubt the capacity of their senators. So feel most welcome. I hope you learn a lot. Meteitei, Madam Speaker, is in Tinderet sub-county. It's very cold, but a very nice school. We are doing a lot to expand the school, and it has been performing very well. So I want to wish them well as they are in Nairobi, and also they have seen the Senate, and wish them well as they go back. And all the best in your exams. We were once there where you are. In no time, you will be where we are. So all the best, and God bless you as you go back to Tinderet. I think I'll be in Tinderet on Saturday. I hope if I get time, I can pass by. Thank you, Madam Speaker, and Karibuni Senate.
What is your point of order, Senator Kajwang?
Madam Speaker, it is not politically neat that when the students and teachers from Nandi come to the Senate, they find the man from Nandi is the only one welcoming them to the Senate. Because, Mr. Speaker, I believe that the senator for Nandi sees them regularly during prize-giving days, visits them regularly, changes their diet regularly. And so, Madam Speaker,
Senator Kajwang, do you want to welcome the guests in the gallery?
you read me perfectly, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, let me join Senator Cherargei in welcoming the students from Nandi. And the reason why I stood up is to help these students know that Kenya is bigger than Nandi. Kenya is bigger than Rift Valley. Kenya is bigger than Nyanza and Western. That Kenya is such a great country that sometimes, as the proverb goes, if you have not gone out of your mother's house, you might think that your mother is the best cook. In this house, we've got representatives from all the 47 counties in Kenya. We've got people from Turkana, people from Mandera, people from Kwale, people who come from the farthest corner of the country called Vanga. And I want the students to know that education that they are getting is not the end. It is a means to help them appreciate the universe. It is a means to help them conquer and improve the world that they are living in. Madam Speaker, I want to encourage the students that their aspiration should not just be to complete high school and then go to a university within Nandi County and then come back and work in Nandi County government. Their aspiration should be to conquer Kenya, to conquer Africa, to conquer the world, and conquer the universe. And they should remember that it is an African-born person who today is the richest man in the world, and who today is organizing how humans can go to Mars, and how humans can go to other planets. And so it is very, very possible. If they were to take the example of a son of the soil who started from very humble beginnings, and today is the resident of the house on the hill. And mark my words very carefully, he is the resident of the house on the hill, Madam Speaker. It is possible, even for these young boys, not just to be the residents of the house on the hill, but to be the president of the Republic of Kenya. And so I want to encourage them that the sky is the limit. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Senator Murango.
Asante sana mstahiki Spika kwa kunipa nafasi hii ambayo niongee kuhusu mswada tulio nao mbele yetu kuhusu pamba. Yes, Senator Ndama, I am very somber. Mstahiki
Senator Ladama, what's your point of order?
Madam Speaker, I have tremendous respect for my colleague, whom I always support whenever he stands up to raise issues, particularly on the issue of, not cotton, agriculture. One which he is very, very passionate about, which has got to do with these nuts, which are exported, macadamia nuts. Madam Speaker, is it in order for the distinguished senator to purport that I was entertaining myself here with a bottle of Glenfiddich? That I'm drugged? I mean, seriously. He's saying that he's very sober. Did I ever say anything like him? You know, when he says that he's very sober, it means that I've been having a glass of Glenfiddich here or any other glass of whiskey. Is he in order? Madam Speaker, he needs to substantiate that or withdraw that statement.
Senator Ladama, I think the Honorable Senator said he is sober. And no. No. Proceed with your presentation, Senator Murango.
Asante mstahiki Speaker, kwa heshima kubwa sana najua Senator Ndama anakunywanga maziwa peke yake. Kwa hivyo sikuwa namaanisha kwamba ni mlevi ama kuna kinyweo chochote ambacho anatumia pale. Mstahiki Speaker, nichukue nafasi hii kwanza kumshukuru Senator Mbetsi ambaye ni mwanachama wangu katika kamati ya kilimo, uvuvi, mifugo na uchumi samawati. Mstahiki Speaker, ni nadra sana seneta maalum kufanya bidii kiasi hicho kwamba amekuwa ni mmoja wa wale ambao ameleta miswada muhimu katika bunge la Seneti. Mstahiki Speaker, pamba tunapoongea inatupatia takriban bilioni 60. Lakini tuna uwezo wa kupata takriban trilioni 7.5 kama tutafanya kilimo cha pamba na kupatia wakulima pembejeo, kuondoa wakiritimba ambao wananyanyasa wakulima katika mitaala ya ukuzi na uuzaji wa pamba. Mstahiki Spika, pamba katika Kenya hii inakuzwa katika maeneo 29, kaunti 29. Tulipokuwa tunazuru maeneo tofauti kwa sababu sisi kamati ya kilimo tuliamua kwamba tutatembelea wakulima kule chini, kwa sababu tulijua kwamba wakati tunaitisha makaratasi ambao watu kuleta maoni yao, wakiritimba pia wanatuma zile makaratasi kujaribu kufanya kwamba hizi miswanda ambazo zinasaidia wakulima hazitapita. Kwa hivyo tumekaa chini katika eneo la Churu Kitui, tumekuja Kitui Town, tumeenda Busia, tumekaa na ukiwa Mtata kuchukua maoni ya wakulima. Na tulipokuwa pale Busia tulipata wakulima kutoka maeneo yote yale, kutoka Bungoma, Kakamega, Kisumu. Kituo kikubwa sana cha utafiti wa pamba kiko Kisumu, mahali kunaitwa Makasembo. Na kitu ambayo pia ni haikufurahisha sana ni kwamba tulipokuwa pia tunafanya ushiriki wa umma, ile pesa tunapewa kama kamati ya ukulima haikutosha, ikambindi tusiende zaidi. Lakini nyoyo zetu tulikuwa tunakusudia kwenda kaunti zote 29. Na hata kama pesa itapatikana, nitakwambia Mstahiki Spika, tutaendelea kufanya hivyo kwa sababu majibu ya wakulima ni muhimu zaidi tunapoyasikia sisi na kuona nyuso sawa.
What is your point of order, Honorable Cherargei?
Hoja ya nidhamu, singependa kumtatiza ndugu yangu Senator Murango. Kulingana na kipengee 105 ameibua jambo ya uzito kuwa wangependa kuendelea kulingana na sehemu 118 ya katiba kukusanya maoni ya wakulima, lakini walifika mahali pesa ikaisha. Mstahiki Madam Speaker, Mstahiki Speaker, hiyo ni mambo ya kinyumbani, mambo ya in-house ambaye haitakikani, kwa sababu Mstahiki Speaker, ikiwa tutaambia wananchi wa Kenya hatutafanya ile kusanyaji ya maoni kulingana na 118 ya kipengee ya katiba, itamaanisha kuwa hatutaweza kupata maoni ya wananchi, Mheshimiwa Speaker, na nafikiri hiyo ni mambo ambayo tungesema saa ile tuko peke yetu. Asante Mheshimiwa Speaker.
Honorable Cherargei, I think the Honorable Senator was just stating a fact of what happened that prohibited them from proceeding, and I do not find anything out of order with that statement. Proceed, Senator Murango.
Asante sana Mstahiki Speaker. Ningependa pia kumwelezea Senator wa Nandi kwamba wakati watu wanafanya ushiriki wa umma hawatumiangi mguu kama wale watu wanaitwa wakiritimba kuuza ng'ombe. Inabidi pia kuna marazi na kuna vitu vingine vitahitajika. Kwa hivyo nikisema ya kwamba kamati haikuweza kumaliza kwa sababu kulikuwa na upungufu wa fedha, na maanisha kwamba ili tuweze kufanya kazi pia katika makadirio ya bajeti lazima tuwezeshwe kama senator ama senate tuweze kufanya kazi hiyo. Na pia nitaka kusema kwamba Kenya hii mambo tunayojadili katika senate si asiri, ni ya umma. Mstahiki Speaker, Senator Nandi ametatiza tena mtiririko wangu wa mawazo, ambalo ni jambo ambalo singetaka kulifanya. Kwa hivyo itabidi nifikirie hata zaidi kurudi mahali nilikuwa. Kwa hivyo Mstahiki Speaker, nilikuwa nasema katika ukuzaji na uuzaji wa pamba nyingi kutoka Kenya inaagizwa kutoka mataifa ya Tanzania na Uganda. Katika mitaala na mifumo viwanda vya pamba, wanawake 60% wanapata faida kwa kupata kazi katika zile kazi. Kuna maeneo ya kiuchumi ambayo inaitwa ipinzendi kwa kimombo. Mstahiki Speaker, ni vizuri ujue ya kwamba manguo zingine za kifahari ambazo zinakuanga na bei ghali zaidi kama Polo, Tommy Hilfiger, zinatengenezewa katika maeneo ya kiuchumi, kuuzwa Canada, kuuzwa Amerika, alafu Mkenya anazinunua tena kama mtumba, na yeye bado ndo mkuzaji pamba mkuu ambaye anafaa kufaidika na pesa na pia zile nguo ambazo zinatoka na ukusanyi wa pamba. Nikisema hivyo nataka kusema ya kwamba wakati serikali inapanga kupeana pembejeo, mandawa, wakati wanapanga kupeana mbolea ya ruzuku, ni vizuri wazingatia kwamba wakulima wa pamba wameachwa pakubwa. Katika mahali nimetoka Kirinyaga, ni jambo la kushuniza kwamba hata kiwanda cha kutoa pamba shamba lake lishaenda, na nilikuja nikauliza kauli kutoka kwa kamati ya mashamba hapa kwa takriban miezi kadhaa imeisha, tujue ile shamba na ile kiwanda kulifanyika nini. Kwa hivyo Mr. Speaker, kwa sababu ya muda najua kuna wengi wangetaka kushiriki katika jambo la pamba, na mimi nikiwa mwenyekiti wa ile kamati ambayo roho yangu, damu yangu inachemuka kuhusu kilimo, kwa sababu najua hiyo ndio itatunasua katika minyororo ya watu ambao tulikuwa tunawaita hasora, sababu kwa sababu wanaitwa mahurukutambu. Sasa nitapeana hii nafasi. Asante sana kwa kunipa nafasi ya kuongea, Mr. Speaker.
Senator Manzo.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, for giving me an opportunity to contribute on this very important law. Madam Speaker, I'm also in the Committee of Agriculture, and I want to really congratulate the chair and the members. It came to a situation where the chair was using his own money, and I believe God will pay him one day so that we can do public participation. Madam Speaker, I want to say that the cotton grown in Kenya, and cotton growing in Kenya has gone through a lot of problems over the years. It used to be very popular in the 80s, and now as staggered, and there's a lot of problem in the country. Yet, cotton is a product needed worldwide. It's very marketable, and it's not a perishable good, so it can be stored. And one of the biggest challenges, as you've heard, we are now growing as a country 7 million tons, when we have a capacity of doing 200 million tons. And this will really employ a lot of farmers, a lot of young people, and it will go a long way to help Kenyans, create employment and earn. Madam Speaker, there are regions in Kenya which can grow cotton, and there are many. And in fact, even the communities, rarely cattle, could also invest very comfortably in cotton, because cotton growing, it goes in the dry areas and favors many places. We realize in a place like Busia, there are small scale holders, yet we have also other places you can do huge farms. The coastal region, Ukambani, parts of northeastern, you can do big farms. But the problem has been how the country has handled this crop. First of all, now it is lumped up in AFA, and that's why we want to have a new law. But I want to say, from the discussions which has been going on in this House, it has come out clear that on third reading, we have a lot of amendments to make. When you look at the history of cotton in the world, it's been grown in America. The African slaves used to grow cotton, and it has also been used to make clothes, and it's a basic, it covers basic needs, clothing, and therefore it's something which is highly needed. But unfortunately, it has been infested by cartels worldwide, such that few people want to own it and then release as they feel when the prices favor them. The seeds for farmers to grow. We have now got the new BT cotton in the country, which has now been approved through a presidential order when GMO products were allowed in the country. And the BT cotton, the problem is with GMO products, when you plant the tree, you have to look for a seed the next day. And therefore, every other time we go to buy the seeds from the company manufacturing these seeds. And right now there's only one dealer in Kenya, and a kilo of the seeds of cotton going for 4,000 Kenyan shillings and must be paid and bought in dollars. We need millions of kilos to be able to give to the farmers, and therefore it will cost Kenyans billions of shillings if you are to go the BT cotton way. However, during our tour we met Kenyans who are very passionate about cotton. The current seed we have can be improved. The way the mango seed was improved, that we've got better mangoes. We can also improve through research the current seeds which we have, so that every time we gin, we don't throw away the seed, it is taken back to the farmers for planting. But when you look at the situation in Uganda, the cotton there, a kilo is being bought for 100 shillings. Yet in Kenya, it's 52 shillings. So the Kenyans at the border are preferring to sell in Uganda other than selling with the ginners in Kenya. And again, also, the people doing the gin, some of them are private companies. There's a monopoly now where you can supply. And we are saying we need to set free where farmers, if the price keeps on being regulated by a few individuals. But the question is, what is the benefit of the farmer? So the farmer is putting in a lot of input and then eventually end up in a lot of trouble by failing to recover whatever they release. And one way is for the government to supply, to help the farmer. In Tanzania, the government gives the farmer the seeds. Then it gives the inputs. There's a lot of spray which has to go, the herbicides, pesticides. Then it goes on to help to buy from the farmer, and the other processes, value addition chains, they also deal with them. Now, when you go back to the BT cotton, the experience in India was that the byproducts of this BT, part of it is food for animals. The other one, they are doing biodiesel. You see these. There are quite a number of products such that with the cotton plant, you end up utilizing it 99%. You only lose 1%. But the experience in India with this BT cotton was that when the cakes were given to cows, which is a very serious matter in Indian culture, the cows diarrheaed to death. And therefore, there was more research, and many other farmers came up with a better seed, which is even better than the BT one. So it's not that BT is perfect. In fact, the BT cotton needs a lot of herbicides and spray, meaning it's very expensive. And Kenya is not helping the farmer in any way, just like the case of Tanzania. And therefore, Tanzanians ends up with a lot of storage for cotton, a lot of it, which they can sell to the world markets with the best prices, because the government is involved and has helped the farmer. So we need to come up with a situation, and the so-called boards now, cotton is devolved. So are we going to have a national board, really? And how are we going to appoint the members and the chair? Are we going back to the president appointing the chair, or is it parliament, or is it the counties? Should the counties also have their own boards? What's the role of COG? Because this is a devolved thing. And I believe because Honorable Siengo has been taking notes, at third reading, we will see amendments originating from ourselves, from the committee, and from members, so that we can make this law much better. So one of the biggest problems is competition also. If competition was promoted, then it means the best prices will be found for farmers, and there will be benefit to the farmers. I'll give an example. You must see this Benz from German was a car which was domineered, and they did not allow competition with other makes such as Audi, BMW. And then there will be cartels before you acquire a single piece of a car of Mercedes-Benz. But the Germans opened the market to other brands, competitive brands, allowed even Toyota to sell in Germany, allowed other brands to sell in Germany. And although Mercedes is a popular car for German and BMW followed by Audi, you still once in a while find a Nissan or a Toyota on the soil of Germany as a country, and many other parts of Europe. So the growing and the selling of cotton should be competitive. In Kenya, it's held by cartels, and there's only one place you can sell. So they determine the price, they make it small and exploit the farmer, and therefore the farmer gives up and never grows cotton again and moves. And I'll give you another example. One time when I was a Committee of Agriculture in the National Assembly, there was a problem in Meru with the tea. And we went there with the Deputy Speaker, and the Honorable Kareke Buki, quite a number of members, and the farmers, they said, we have given Parliament 1 week. failure of which we shall cut down all the tea, we will grow macadamia and avocados. We are fed up or be exploited as farmers. And I'm telling you, the way the farmers put it, we have no choice but to help the farmers as a house. Otherwise, within 1 week, they had their money in the pocket. And this is the same problem now cotton is having. The farmer ends up being exploited and feels very bad. And with many regions in the country where we can grow cotton, the whole of Tana River, I wish Honorable Mugatana was here, but I know he's in the Pan-African Parliament. I'm sure he will be very useful at third reading. So the price is a problem. And then we have, you know, the issue of this particular plant be so much needed in the world. And therefore, if we as a country invested in it and grew a lot of cotton, we really increase the GPD of the country. We will be able to, farmers will make money, they will be taxed appropriately, and then they will not feel exploited and they'll build the country. So there's really been a problem when it comes to this. Now, when we went around, we realized that the smallholders, in places like Busia, they have some parts with small farms, and the other parts with huge farms. So, you know, with the smallholders, they really need to be assured. Because it means instead of growing their normal food stuff, like maize and the like, and you know, cotton can persevere dry seasons, then it means if you make cotton better, they'll go back to cotton growing, and they have ginaries around there. They have ginaries around Busia, and they are looking forward to this. And we have said one of the ways of managing this is through the cooperative movement. You know, if farmers are in cooperatives, then it means cooperatives in Kenya can cooperate with other cooperatives abroad. And that will really remove the broker. It means cooperatives in Kenya can do their own ginning. It means cooperatives in Kenya can do their own spinning. It means cooperatives in Kenya can deal with the final product, which is clothing. And therefore, the government really has to take the cooperative movement seriously, because the countries which have succeeded in this plant, like in India, there are cooperative movements. One of the best examples is Israel, where you have the kibbutz and the mashav. And the kibbutz grow the plants, and the mashav market as a cooperative. So if we really have to help and regularize, it is also through the cooperatives they will be able to look for the seeds, because the seeds are very important. And it is through the cooperatives farmers will help each other. And also form circles of cotton growing farmers, so that they can save monies when they are paid. And when they need capital, there is a place they can acquire it quickly. And the good thing about the cooperative movements, it begins from the grassroots. It begins from the village. It is national in Kenya. We have Cusco, which is a national body. Then when you go international, you have World Council of Credit Unions, WOCU, which deals with that line of financing. If you come to the agricultural cooperatives and other business cooperatives, you have the International Cooperative Alliance. And even WOCU usually make grants to help small upcoming cooperatives. And therefore, you know, for a struggling farming cooperative of cotton, they can easily get international grants so that they can stabilize and grow. And then cooperatives cooperate with cooperatives. The good example is CIC when it was down. It was helped by a similar cooperative under the leadership of then Mr. Kuria from Canada. They borrowed the CIC insurance, which I'm proudly part of, and I'm proudly, you know, insure there, and they're very reliable. Was now revived. So if we have bigger cotton cooperatives other parts of the world, they will help us revive our own cooperatives here. And this is a way now the government can be assisted if it doesn't want to do like the Tanzanian model of funding the cotton farmer from grassroots to the top. And even under International Cooperative Alliance, there are many other cooperatives in Asia and other places which grow cotton. They will be able to cooperate, and they will be able to determine the world prices. And people will no longer be exploited as they are being exploited today, because this is what has led cotton farming become hard, become miserable. I am aware that the coastal region is really looking forward to this crop. Taita Taveta is looking forward to this crop. The whole 3 counties of Ukambani are looking forward to this crop. And the farmers and children will be busy We will not have idlers because everybody is busy either picking cotton or planting cotton. And then also, this law must come up with a way of regularizing in a manner that you can be able to know the season of growing so that the whole country plants at the same time. Then the inputs and the issue of, extension officers is very critical in this country. You need extension officers to tell them how to spray, what to spray, and the country now is encouraging organic spray because also of taking care of the environment. And eventually when you do a lot of spraying of cotton, when it used to be done when I was young, snakes would die even, which are near the farms. Many other small animals will die other than just the insects. So the damage would then be very big. The damage would then be very, very big, Madam Speaker. So that we want to also help and save the environment through making safe methods. And therefore, organic farming and organic spraying is very much encouraged so that it doesn't also injure many Kenyans who are handling the pesticides. Now, with extension officers and with the death of extension officers in this country, with the failure of devolution, although agriculture is devolved, it has to move from the national government to the counties. With that, what has happened is now the extension officers who are existing are about 2 years to retirement, and I'm just hoping they're going to be good citizens who will continue helping the farmer and the village. The country has to train extension officers in agriculture. They are none. We must have a policy of extension officers because Kenya is an agricultural economy. We are doing away with extension officers gradually, and therefore we must have a system, a policy of training extension officers, and having them placed in the counties so that they can work and save the nation from this gap we are going to face when there's nobody who knows how to handle herbicides, nobody how to do animal husbandry, nobody to help with the cropping. The old extension officers who know about this cotton are retiring, and others are dying out of economic hard times upon retirement. So, Madam Speaker, we really have to look at the story and the issue of extension officers so that we make sure when we grow cotton, then we have people who can guide the farmers. Today, unfortunately, farmers are guiding themselves when it comes to pesticides, herbicides. The companies which are manufacturing like Twiga Chemicals are not able to do this. And then financing. For those who work through the cooperatives, the cooperative bank has been very kind enough to work with coffee farmers, tea farmers, and now can even work with cotton farmers. And you will find that they can finance cooperatives to do ginaries, to own ginaries, to buy and own ginaries. And then now, finally, the land tenure system. With the smallholders, we need to be sure what they are doing. With the big holders, it means there are private companies who can be growing this, the way pineapples are grown. And it means also we have, farmers in a cooperative. And again, also when they work together like that, you'll be able to zone the region. And we'll be able to know, to control the pesticides better, especially if they are using natural methods. Because you see, cotton is attacked by pests when it is the balls, and then when it has burst out, and you can see the white cotton. Again, also there are pesticides which come and attack and give it bad coloring and even damage because some of them are very nasty, some of the pesticides, and some breed in that situation. And therefore, we have to have a way of making sure the crop is taken proper care. It's taken proper care, and Madam Speaker will be able to help Kenyans grow this process. So this law is important because without regulations, without a policy, there is a problem. The policy of cotton growing in this country is still wanting. Even before we make a law, the government should have brought a policy ahead of the law. But because the government has not brought a policy, we've got now to develop the law and the policy at the same time. And that's why this law should also give guidelines. And the good news also is regulations will lie after the act by the minister in charge of agriculture. These regulations now fit in what was left out in the main act and also goes a long way to